Story 1. Probably the little voice in my head that constantly wonders if I am enough, smart enough, funny enough, good-looking enough. It is like carrying around an annoying little critic who has a doctor of philosophy in making you doubt yourself. But here is the kicker. I have learned that most people are too busy worrying about their own insecurities to notice mine. So now I try to flip the script, be kind to others and to myself. Still, on bad days, I swear that little voice is training for the Olympics in mental gymnastics. Story 2. Knowing each day is the youngest I will ever be and seeing my life just pass by, completely aware that nothing good is ever going to come my way. Story 3. My size, I am 3 feet 11 inches and 56 pounds. I am a little person, and I am going to be 18 soon. I'm starting to notice how different I am from the people around me. I noticed it before, but now it's becoming more apparent as I am becoming an adult. Story 4. I'm just different. I look at the world differently, and people don't understand my odd sense of humor. I talk to people easily and love to chat, but I often feel pushed aside. It hurts. 90% of the time, I'm just being quirky me. But some days, I feel like an oddball that nobody likes. It weighs on me. Square peg syndrome. Story 5. Feel you. My biggest insecurity is my height. I've always been shorter than everyone else. It's tough, but I remind myself that people who truly matter will see beyond it. Embracing what makes us different can be empowering, even if it takes time to get there. Story 6. Feeling like wherever I go, everyone else has the right to be there and I don't. Like somehow their intentions for being there are better than mine. It actually hinders me quite a bit. Story 7. My body has scars all over. My weight fluctuates up and down 13 pounds, and somehow it's always straight off my hips and bottom. I still don't want those 13 pounds, which I currently have. Story 8. I am really genuinely stupid, and I've been socially isolated for so long I think I've permanently hindered my ability to form relationships. Also, my belly. Story 9. Being homeless. I am tired of people thinking anyone deserves this life. Mental illness ensures that I'm plenty insecure anyways, but being told I'm a piece of shit gets wearing. Story 10. Totally get it. I've struggled with feeling like an outsider because of my quirks too. It took time, but I learned to embrace what makes me unique and found people who appreciate that. It's tough, but remember you're not alone in feeling this way. Keep being you. Story 11. That I might just be unlikable. I always tried to be nice to everyone and be everyone's friend when I was little. That did not work out well for me. Now I live in constant fear of people suddenly hating me or not liking me from the beginning because of little things. It's really just my depression talking sometimes, but it's enough to make me insecure. Story 12. I have body dysmorphia, a very loud inner critic from an almost lifetime of abuse and constant medical problems. So I'm always insecure that everyone is thinking as negatively about me as I do. Story 13. I totally get it. My biggest insecurity is my height. Always feeling overlooked, literally and metaphorically. It's tough, but I try to focus on things I love about myself. Also, humor helps. Laughing at my quirks makes them feel less like flaws and more like unique traits. Story 14. I have a bit of a lazy eye. It only happens when I'm concentrating too hard on something, usually. I absolutely hate when people bring it up, and at one point one person even thought it was funny to point it out. I hate when people mention physical features because 9 times out of 10 the person already knows. Story 15. My body. I'm 5 feet tall and weigh 170 pounds. Most of my weight is in the middle. People think I'm petite, but under my baggy clothes, the shape of my body is unattractive. I also have big breasts but a flat backside. It's unfortunate. Shopping for clothes is a nightmare, which is why I stay in pajamas and sweatpants. Story 16. Low self-esteem and the constant doubt in my head. Wow, what a beautiful lady. I think I'll give her a compliment and ask for her number. Well, in this room there are at least 5 guys who look better. Things like that. Story 17. For me, it's my voice because I grew up in an abusive household. I always tried to stay as quiet as possible because I was afraid someone would notice me and get mad at me for making noise. Now, when I talk, people often have trouble understanding because I talk so quietly. Story 18. My biggest insecurity is feeling like I am not good enough, especially when I compare myself to others. It is a hard habit to break, but I try to focus on my own journey. Story 19. I am a 27-year-old female with 2 children, but I am very tiny and only 100 pounds. I have always been this way, and people are constantly telling me I look between 10 and 16 years old, or commenting on how tiny I am. This just makes me question how anybody finds me sexually attractive and if it has anything to do with looking young. Story 20. My mental fragility when going social. I am always a happy little sunshine all the time, but I start crying when somebody hugs me right or reads my eyes well enough. Story 21. My biggest insecurity is feeling inadequate around others. When I am by myself, I feel very confident in my looks, personality, and abilities. But when I am around others, I always feel not good enough for them. Probably because I have been bullied from grade school and at workplaces. Story 22. Constantly wondering if I am burdening my friends or if I am that annoying friend, despite many of my friends sticking by me and being there for me every moment. Also occasionally wondering if I am even appealing enough in dating scenes, both personality and physically speaking. Story 23. Stretch marks. I feel like nobody will ever find my body beautiful because it's covered in them. I see people with smooth, clear skin and can't help but hate myself even more. I know it's normal, but that doesn't stop me from feeling insecure about it. Story 24. That I am intensely jealous of any contact that my girlfriends have with other men. I consider it a huge character flaw and have to suppress it. Story 25. My smell. My parents smoked inside the house when I was 13. Thankfully, my big sister allowed me to stay with her after my aunt called the social workers on my parents during a family visit. Story 26. Being hurt by the ones I love and being left behind or cheated on by the woman I love, because I always tell myself she will one day find a better man. It makes me a bit paranoid, and I try to find something behind everything. Story 27. My addiction to pornography and the fact that it started very early. Whenever addiction or anything related is mentioned, I just feel like everyone's looking at me like, oh, we know what you do. Story 28. My body. I am 197 centimeters tall and still young. I look skinny from the chest up, but at the torso and belly, I look like I'm 200 kilograms. I am 84 kilograms and it's not healthy. It also is my face because I have blackheads and I look ugly. Story 29. My acne scars. My acne was rampant during my teenage years and, to add insult to injury, I contracted chickenpox at one point. So, my face, mainly my cheeks, is mixed with acne and chickenpox scars. Story 30. My fatness, probably. Apparently, everyone around me needs to remind me that I am for no reason at all, and I have to act like it's funny or I'll be called sensitive, even though I am. Story 31. My tummy. It has never been flat like other girls. It might just be in my genetics, but I avoid intimacy and dating now because of it. I am average weight, average height, but my tummy is just out there and I've never liked it. Story 32. I've made great strides in this, but how smart I am. It was my entire identity for a while. I was the smart person. Due to a mixture of untreated attention deficit/hyperactivity disorder, depression, and anxiety, I flunked out of college. I had an existential crisis. I had no idea who I was and if I was worthy of anything. It didn't help that my mother also contributed to me feeling like a failure. I'm now on the verge of going back to school with a different major, but it scares me. I know I can do it, but that previous experience has me convinced I can't. Story 33. My teeth. I just wish I could go back in time and tell my younger self to chill with the candy and junk and regularly brush your teeth so you do not have to pay a bunch of money to get them fixed. They are not terrible, but I definitely need some whitening, a couple of fillings, and might have to get braces. Story 34. My toes. I wore socks because I used to be embarrassed by my feet as a kid, and I think I permanently disfigured them. I wish they were as straight as my exes were. Story 35. Being overweight. I know I am losing weight, but man, it is still so draining being overweight. It is like no matter how much you lose, nobody cares. I have lost 60 pounds in the past year or two, and my friends still make fat jokes about me and everything. Kills me inside, and there is never a day that goes by where I do not think about how badly I want to be slim. Story 36. Pretty much my entire body, my voice, my personality, not being smart or capable in any given situation, my ability as a lover, and being an enormous failure as a dad. Aside from all that, I'm very confident, though. Story 37. My biggest insecurity was when a man made me feel insecure about it after a first date. It was that I was not petite enough for him to go on a second date with. Story 38. I have stubborn belly fat that will never go away. I'm a 45-year-old man and have struggled with obesity all my life. I've been able to diet and exercise and lose weight, but I always have this spare tire or Dunlap's disease that won't go away. My body is also frustrating in that every time I gain 10 pounds back and then lose that 10 pounds again, 2 pounds of it stays in that area and never disappears. I'm always trying to buy and wear clothing that hides it, but it is never completely hidden. I can catch people in public glancing at that part of my body. I hate it. Story 39. Physically, it's my little, tiny lower belly bump that doesn't go away no matter my diet or level of physical activity. Non-physically, it's that I feel like everyone can sense I'm a terrible person, which I know I'm not. I had a mom who told me how terrible I was my whole upbringing, and you tend to believe those things. Story 40. That everything is a lie and this whole thing we call life is just a made-up thing that we follow, which dictates that it's okay for us to spend the majority of our lives working and stressing out over things that don't matter to us, only so we can have 10 to 15 years of actual freedom towards the end of our lives, for the lucky few who live that long. And then maybe, just maybe, we can have kids and a family along the way, buy a house, all that fun stuff. But yeah, see, they taught us in school a very different version of the world than it is in reality. And now that we are in the world, they expect us to, what? Flip-flop at their will? Forget everything that we based our lives on. You know? Like those childhood hopes and dreams, which dictate our future careers and aspirations, which have an impact on that economy that so many people love to obsess over when in reality the only thing they are really obsessed with is complaining about a problem of which they have no understanding as they actively make it worse. In my mind, we are all walking in circles, heads cut off with smiles painted on our backs. The sickening. To say it is a disgrace and a disappointment is to understate the severity of the problem. Where is the humanity? Story 41. That I look like my abusive parents and the rest of my family. I don't like my family, so I'm hoping one day I'll look in the mirror and feel beautiful. Story 42. My biggest insecurity is feeling like I'm not doing enough, no matter how hard I try. It's that constant fear of falling short that can be so overwhelming. Story 43. My body. I've been with my boyfriend for over a year, and even though he says he likes seeing me naked, I still struggle with it. I don't even like showering because I have to be naked. I still do it just with the door closed, and I don't leave until I'm fully clothed. Story 44. My son is only 14 and last night he came to vent to me. He feels so insecure about his receding hairline. He said his hair is thin and that he has a big forehead. He told me no girl is going to want to date him and that he thinks he will be so ugly without hair. It breaks my heart that he feels this way about himself. I told him everyone has things they feel insecure about, but that some people can hide it easier. I just hate that he feels so awful about himself. Story 45. My looks, specifically skin and side profile, and my skills, even if I'm told I'm good at what I do, I can never shake the feeling that I'm really not that good, being too difficult to understand and not being worth the effort to try. Story 46. My biggest insecurity is feeling like I will never live up to the expectations I set for myself. It is a constant inner struggle to accept that imperfection is okay. Story 47. My voice, especially when on the phone or through gaming, sounds either like a girl or like a little kid. Some say it sounds like a transgender person, but either way, it is definitely my voice. Story 48. I don't feel like I have any insecurities because I've learned to accept myself for who I am. For those who do have insecurities, remember to be proud of who you are. We are all beautiful and handsome in our own way, and we've all been created by God. Story 49, my dysphoria, I'm quite androgynous, and my father was a hairy man, I inherited that. When I was a teen, my aunt, who I was living with, kept making comments on my hair. I should be straightening and cutting my hair while taking a razor to the rest of my body, as I was a neglecting little miss and wasn't ladylike. I have dark hair on my body, and I'm pale-skinned, so every little hair is visible. I got so complex thanks to my aunt projecting. I'm trying to get past it. Story 50. I'd say I'm a good-looking guy, but in pictures, my face just looks peculiar. I don't know how to describe it, nothing symmetrical. I look heavier, I look like I don't want to be there, and I just look a lot better in real life. That, and also my forehead psoriasis, which I cover with a fringe, but one day my hair will recede, and it will be visible all the time. My teeth are a tiny bit yellow, and sometimes on bad days I hate my body. Story 51. My biggest insecurity is feeling like people notice all my flaws more than anything good about me. It is a constant battle to focus on the positive instead of overthinking everything. Story 52. I hate my body. I'm tall and big, shaped like an AirPod. Haha. I hate my skin discoloration. I hate that people treat me differently because of how I look. It's weird because I don't think I'm ugly, but I get treated like that, so in my head, I think I must be ugly. I need a lot of reassurance, and people started to call me a pick-me. But I can't stop because I'm beginning to not even look at myself in the mirror. Story 53. Honestly, my tooth gap and side profile. I have a gap between my two front teeth, which isn't all that bad. But what makes me hate it is when it's paired with my underdeveloped lower jaw. It's similar to an overbite, and I feel it diminishes my looks more than it should.